I deliberately left my smartphone in my dorm before going abroad. Instead, I brought an old, worn-out flip phone with me. When my roommate, who was pretending to be a wealthy heiress, saw it, she was utterly stunned. That old model phone simply couldn't be infected with the virus she intended to plant. Just moments earlier, that imposter had generously picked out gifts worth $5 million for our classmates. If she couldn't get her hands on my smartphone to plant the virus and steal the funds, her fake identity could be exposed at any moment. But I had already anticipated that she had a fund-stealing virus ready, all because I had been reborn. In my previous life, my father had just transferred $10 million to me, but the very next day, the money mysteriously vanished. After investigating, I discovered that my phone had been infected with a virus, and the only person who had access to my phone was that imposter in my dorm. When I confronted her, she turned the tables and accused me, claiming that a poor student like me couldn't possibly have that much money. Even my beloved boyfriend didn't believe me, and in the end, I had no choice but to call the police. When the imposter found out I was going to the police, she lured me to the rooftop, where she openly admitted that she had transferred the money. What was even more horrifying was that, to leave no evidence, she pushed me off the 100-story building, and publicly claimed that I had committed suicide due to academic pressure. Perhaps heaven took pity on me, as I was reborn right after my father had just transferred the money. Just like in my previous life, the imposter once again enthusiastically invited our entire dorm to go on an overseas trip, claiming she would cover all the expenses. I immediately realized she must have overheard my father's call about the transfer, and was pretending to be generous, while ultimately spending my money all along. Just then, my boyfriend also came to the dorm, thoughtfully bringing breakfast for every roommate, thinking about how every penny he spent was actually mine, and how in my previous life, he had sided with the imposter instead of believing me, even breaking up with me and eventually getting together with her. I decided that in this life, I would make this scumbag pay during this trip. Sure enough, just like in my previous life, the imposter proactively invited the scumbag and everyone in the dorm on the overseas trip, announcing that she would cover all expenses. Hearing this, the scumbag immediately concluded she must be the real heiress, and secretly resolved to dump me and pursue her instead. I remained calm, only agreeing to meet at the school gate at 10 a.m. the next morning, but inwardly, I sneered. The next morning, everyone gathered at the school gate. To maintain her heiress persona, the imposter went so far as to spend $500,000 to hire a luxury car to take us directly abroad. Little did she know, all of this was part of my plan. 5 hours later, we arrived at the foreign airport, and it was time to pay the $500,000 car fare. The imposter pretended to stay calm but quietly pulled out her dead phone, then turned to look at me. I immediately remembered how, in my previous life, she had used her dead phone as an excuse to borrow mine and successfully planted the virus. So, I pretended to panic and said I must have left my phone on the plane. The imposter instantly panicked. Without my phone, how was she going to pay the $500,000? Just then, the staff received a call, saying they had found a bag, but it would take at least an hour to deliver it. Watching the imposter's embarrassed expression, I smiled to myself. At that moment, the scumbag proactively offered his phone, saying she could use it. A glimmer of hope flashed in the imposter's eyes. She took the phone, stepped aside, and quickly planted the virus. At the same time, the staff received a transfer of $500,000. The imposter returned the phone as if nothing had happened, and the scumbag even flattered her, saying it was an honor for her to use his phone. But as soon as he finished speaking, he received a bank notification. Payment of $500. 000 successful. Current balance, $3. The scumbag instantly realized he had been hacked. I quietly reminded him that only the imposter had touched his phone. He immediately grabbed her and demanded to know what she had done to his phone. Just then, other classmates pulled him away, defending the imposter. After all, in their eyes, she was a wealthy heiress. How could she possibly steal money? $500,000 was just pocket change to her, like the cost of a meal. Hearing this, the scumbag began to waver, wondering if he might have been mistaken. Eager to win her favor, he quickly changed his attitude and apologized to her, insisting that it must have been the work of foreign hackers and that he shouldn't have accused her. Right at that moment, the staff returned the bag I had left on the plane. The imposter's eyes lit up the moment she saw it. Soon, we entered a high-end luxury store. Since my phone had been found, the imposter confidently announced that she would cover everyone's shopping spree and told them to pick whatever they wanted. The others immediately went into a frenzy, grabbing items left and right. In no time, they had piled up a mountain of goods. The store clerk brought over the list, and the total came to a staggering $5 million. The manager stepped in to remind them, "Your spending has exceeded the store's single transaction limit. Payment is required before you can continue." The imposter pretended to be offended, accusing him of looking down on her and doubting her ability to pay. The manager quickly explained it was store policy, adding that if they were sure about the purchases, he could prepare the invoice immediately, but he had to remind them that all luxury items in the store were unique and non-refundable once invoiced. Without hesitation, the imposter said, "Invoice everything." Only I knew the real show was about to begin. Soon, the clerk handed her the bill, $5.23 million in total, and offered to apply a discount for her. The imposter refused, then slapped the manager across the face, saying, "That's for looking down on people." The manager had no choice but to bow and apologize. This scene only made her sycophants admire her even more, and they eagerly declared they'd follow her from then on. Then, the imposter pretended her phone was dead again and asked to borrow mine. I generously handed her my bag. She was secretly delighted, completely unaware that she was about to face her downfall.